Thursday Night Football.
Thursday Night Football. What a game. The Ravens win 35-34. As we discussed yesterday, it's a statement game, right? Because the Bengals could have been 5-5. The Ravens would have been 6-4.
I know.
Impactful game, meaningful game, and the Bengals fall just short of a victory because Lamar Jackson is too damn good. That's why.
What is it, 26-4? Is that the ratio of touchdowns to picks? Unbelievable. I was proud of my 4-year-old son because he noticed that they had a different uniform on. I was like, you notice that, buddy?
Wow.
Dad's really proud.
And you got Derrick Henry scoring touchdowns every game. Like, they just have weapons. They're using them, and they showed up.
There's 2 layers I would like to dive into with you.
And when I say showed up, Rich, 21 points in the fourth quarter. So props to the Ravens.
Put on your diving cap, Greg Louganis style, because
Okay.
we're going to dive into this. When you saw the Bengals go for 2,
Yes.
do you feel like in the back of Joe Burrow's mind, in the back of the Bengals' mind, was Mahomes, Baker Mayfield, and the decision to go to overtime, and all of a sudden you saw that we all have the image in our head of Baker Mayfield a couple days ago rolling his eyes like, oh man, they're going to get the ball and just win it. Do you think there was a part of the Bengals that were like, we're not going to let Lamar do to us what Mahomes did to the Bucs?
Deja vu.
Was there that in the back of the head? And then the other layer, Danny, I know you'll be on board with this being a Raiders fan. There's a lot of people saying that they got some chief type of Burrow didn't get chief type of calls. Like if Mahomes had got hit a few times like Burrow did, flags would have flown.
Yeah, well, Burrow after the game said he's not used to getting calls like that. He's just not. So
Face mask on the last play.
Didn't really
late
expect
hits.
it. Yeah, because he doesn't get those calls usually. Now, the stuff with the Chiefs is a little overblown. It's turned into an internet joke.
Agreed, yeah.
But
jersey swaps at the refs, yeah.
Yeah, but if Mahomes got hit in the face mask like that,
they wouldn't have missed it.
If one of his receivers got mugged like that, there would have been a flag on the field. I think everybody could kind of agree with that.
Without a doubt.
Wasn't Gesicki off the line of scrimmage? Gesicki was like mobbed off the
Speaking
line of
of
scrimmage.
crying on social media, there was a lot of that last night in regards to those plays. You know, when it came down to the last play of the game, or going for 2, Rich, it did make me say, as we often discuss. It made me say, wow, they're going for 2. Bold. It's one of those things, they make it, wow, greatest thing ever, greatest call, that takes huevos. And if you don't get it, oh, man, why'd you do that?
It's so quickly deflating.
Damned if you don't. So it did make me say, but I understood because I think in that moment, you got to go for it because you know that Lamar Jackson's on the other side. That's the power of playing in fear of Lamar Jackson.
But, Cove, the Bengals offense was rolling.
They were cooking, too.
As well.
Yeah.
Look at Jamarr Chase's night.
True, but you know that Lamar Jackson's probably going to score at that point. They had that momentum. Again, 21 points in the fourth quarter. So you go for it in that moment. At least that's the thinking, right? Because when I was talking to Rich before, I'm going back and forth, too. I have to be honest here. When I was talking to Rich before in the kitchen, I said, why don't you just go for the tie, man? Come on. But I get it. You're going for the win because you fear Lamar Jackson.
When you miss the 2-point conversion, is there any more deflating feeling? Like, the game was so awesome, and now it's over.
So
and
weak.
it also made you realialize another layer.
That's when keeping it real goes wrong.
If I would like to add a third layer, I'm making a pretty nice dip here. We're up to 3 layers.
You need 2 more layers for the sweetest dip.
Is it time for the NFL, which I'll back the NFL. I feel like they make a lot of really good decisions. You know, fans are very quick to want to jump on everything like, I hate it, this stinks. The one remaining thing, maybe there's 2 things rule-wise that I think if they changed, I wouldn't have any complaints. One is when you fumble through the end zone and it's like a change of possession. That's nonsense. We all agree on that. Or some variation needs to change. But the other one is the onside kick is damn near impossible. What is it now, 2 for 27 or 2 for 28?
Yeah.
It's not even a real play. They really do need to investigate one of those, make it 4th and 20 from your own 25. Something to make it possible.
I'm curious what you guys would guess this number is as of the end of October, so through October so far in the NFL. What do you think the success rate so far is on 2-point conversions this season?
Oh, like all throughout the game, not just in the end. Like
Right throughout the season, yeah.
People love analytics. They go with stats. My guess here is it has to be high for them to go for it. That's my guess.
But they'll give me a percentage.
So we're at almost 80%.
Oh, no, I'm gonna say about a 65% clip.
Buyer, what you think?
I was going to say 45%.
Oh, you think
All
less
right.
than half? Okay.
Well, usually it's around 55%. So far this season, 31%.
What?
Oh, snap.
Man, so even more pressure on a coach to take that risk when all analytics go against you, right? Because in baseball, we just finished a baseball season. So many calls are made because of analytics. So that way they're clear of any ridicule or criticism like, hey, man, the stats prove, and that's why I did X, Y, and Z.
Baseball.
NFL, they're still going with their gut and their instinct, even though analytics prove completely otherwise. I thought there was a reason you were asking, Danny G, and I was taking the flip side of that. 30%, and they still went for it.
Good save.
No, I'm serious.
No.
I'm dead serious. You want to know why, though, DB? I'm being dead serious. I was listening to something today, Talking Yanks or something, and it was about how guys like Aaron Boone, they're often called puppets because they never really make any big decisions. They never go with their gut. They never make any calls based on their instinct. It's always based on analytics, and that's why you see these calls. You're like, why would they do that? Because analytics say otherwise, and that's why their job's always safe. It's a team of people throwing out the stats and making those calls. Aaron Boone and other managers just act on that. In football, it is the opposite. At least here it was, for sure. And it did make me scratch my noggin, and it also takes away from Jamarr Chase's leaping touchdown, that magnificent catch he made, because you're
that
like,
was ridiculous.
Yeah, you're like, oh man, this is dope.
There were times where
there
were times where Jamarr Chase, you wonder, how is he so open? If you watch tape of old Jerry Rice in the late 80s, where you're thinking to yourself, how is he so open?
First step.
How is he so open? I felt that way about Jamarr Chase. I'm like, dude, we've seen this happen. What do you do? Like, you're letting him, whether they're playing zone or man-to-man, whatever the scheme, somehow Jamarr Chase is in no man's land.
When guys catch air like that in traffic, that's one of my favorite plays in football.
No, that was so dope. But again, it's sort of undercut by the failed 2-point conversion.
And
you
know
sort of
Covino?
forget about it.
That back of the end zone catch by Chase, you got to give Burrow credit because he put that ball just high enough where it couldn't be tipped or intercepted.
Oh, yeah.
It could only have gone in Chase's hands, and that touches off a little bit. It's a pick in the end zone.
The other thing with the 2-point conversion decision is there was still 38 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah.
So even if the game was tied, I still think Baltimore goes and tries to score, to kick a field goal to win the game. So while it likely ended the chances of the Cincinnati Bengals, I would much rather lose with the ball in Joe Burrow's hands than to put it on the shoulders of my defense that couldn't stop anybody last night.
That's true. And you see these calls, risky calls, because it was such a high-stake game, Rich. This was such a statement game, and that's what we talked about yesterday. If you miss any of the show, again, check the podcast. We went over that, and that's why you're seeing it. That's why you're seeing these calls being made, and you have to put them on the line to make an impact in the NFL, and they put them on the line yesterday. When I say them, I'm meaning the Jewels.
The huevos.
Yeah. The cojones.
4-6. It's been a rough go for the Bengals, and you hate to go back to the early part of the season, but listen, man, this is not Major League Baseball. This is not the NBA or the NHL. There's no 82 or 162 game schedule. You got 17 opportunities to make your mark in the NFL, right? Week 1, when the Bengals came in a little rusty because no one really played in the preseason, and they dropped week 1 to the Patriots, that's an L that has to linger, right?
Yeah, for sure.
You lose to the Patriots in Cincinnati week 1, you got off to that's a bad first foot forward. It's like when you go bowling, you ever in an open frame in the first frame and you're like, can I just start over? Like, no spare, no strike. 7 open frame. Reset. Come on. It's like when
you have to go to the guy on the counter to clear the screen for you.
And he's spraying that stuff into the shoes.
Hey, lane 16, can you restart it? The ball got stuck.
I was warming up.
I'm not starting my game with a 7 open frame. Come on. But when you look at the Bengals schedule,
Yeah, they started with an open frame.
it's Covino. It's the Patriots loss, and then they bumped into the Chiefs, lost a 1-point game. The Commanders, who we didn't realize at the time, were good. They beat them.
Back to your bowling analogy.
They beat the
started with
Panthers.
an open frame, and if they won yesterday, that would have been 2 strikes in a row.
Yeah, you know what, Cove? It's they beat the Panthers. They lost to the Ravens
Turkey.
twice. They beat the Giants. They're beating who they should beat, but they lost to the Eagles. It's a rough road ahead.
It was a tough loss, but a great game. If you had no horse in the race, no team in the race, just a fun Thursday night battle of 2 superstar quarterbacks and 2 really good teams. Actually, they both started off kind of slow, but one started off really slow. The Bengals.
Yeah.
Ravens got the best of them with the nice win. Bengals had a shot to tie it. They went for 2, didn't work out.
Oy.
The end.
Well-
So again, it made me say, but I understood the call.